I've always believed that trust and mutual respect are the foundation of any successful business. My partner, James, and I had known each other for over a decade. We met in college, both ambitious and determined to build something from the ground up. Over the years, we created a thriving business that became the envy of our industry. Our company was a symbol of our hard work, dedication, and friendship. When I married Laura, the love of my life, soon after we launched the business, everything seemed perfect. She was supportive, beautiful, and kind, and I thought I had everything I ever wanted. James and Laura got along well, and I had no reason to feel uneasy. They worked together seamlessly, and as the business grew, I became more focused on expansion, while James took a larger role in managing day-to-day operations. I believed we had the ideal partnership, but appearances can be deceiving. One evening, I came home early, hoping to surprise Laura, but when I entered, the house was eerily silent. I called out her name, but received no response. I went to the bedroom and saw something that changed everything. Through the crack in the door, I saw Laura and James, entwined in each other's arms, kissing passionately. For a moment I was frozen, unable to comprehend what I was seeing. My stomach twisted into knots. How long had this been going on? I felt betrayed by both my wife and my best friend. I turned around and left the house, too shaken to confront them. I spent the night in my car, trying to process the reality of what had just happened. The betrayal wasn't just emotional, it was a wrecking ball to everything I had built, my marriage, my business, and my entire life. The next morning, I wasn't ready to confront either of them. I needed answers, but I wasn't prepared to face them yet. At the office, James acted as if nothing had changed. He was his usual confident self, but I couldn't look at him the same way. My mind raced with questions. Had they always been this close? Was I blind to the signs? Or was I just too absorbed in the business to see what was happening right under my nose? Finally, after the meeting, I found a moment to speak with James. I pulled him aside and, struggling to keep my voice steady, said, "I saw something last night, something that has me questioning everything." James raised an eyebrow, but didn't respond immediately. I took a deep breath. "I saw you and Laura together, kissing, in our house." He didn't seem guilty at first, but then his expression shifted slightly. "Listen, man, I didn't want you to find out like this, but it's complicated." "Complicated?" I repeated, my voice rising. "How long have you been having an affair with my wife?" James looked out the window, avoiding my gaze. "I never meant for it to happen," he said quietly, "but I've been in love with Laura for a long time. She feels the same way. It just happened." The words hit me like a punch to the stomach. "You've been lying to me this whole time, pretending to be my friend while sleeping with my wife," I said, struggling to hold my composure. "I never wanted to hurt you," he said softly, "but it's been going on for a while now. It's not just physical, it's emotional too." I was stunned. The betrayal was not only physical but emotional as well. My business, my marriage, everything I had built had been undermined by the two people I trusted most. I left the office, feeling numb. When I got home, Laura was waiting for me. She greeted me with a smile, but I couldn't return it. "Where were you last night?" she asked, sensing something was wrong. I took a deep breath. "I need you to be honest with me, Laura. I saw you with James. You've been having an affair, haven't you?" Her eyes widened, and she stepped back, caught off guard. She seemed to be preparing for the truth to come out. "I didn't mean for you to find out like this," she said, her voice trembling. "How long, Laura?" I asked, my voice breaking. "How long has this been going on?" Tears welled up in her eyes. "It's been going on for almost as long as we've been married." The words felt like a slap to my face. I couldn't breathe, my world crumbling around me. "How could you do this to me?" I whispered, my voice filled with pain. "We built this life together. I trusted you, Laura." "I love you, Adam," she sobbed. "But I also love James. It wasn't supposed to happen, but it did. It became more than just a one-time thing." I couldn't stop it. I pulled away from her, no longer able to hear the words. My heart was shattered, and all I could think about was how I had been deceived. "You couldn't stop it, or you just didn't want to," I said bitterly, before walking away. Over the next few days, I avoided home and stayed at a small apartment. The betrayal was overwhelming. The business, too, was a mess. I wasn't sure how I could work with James anymore, but I also knew I couldn't just walk away from everything we had built. The company had been our dream, but now it was a symbol of the devastation I felt. I needed to confront James again, but I wasn't ready. When I finally did, we sat across from each other, the silence between us suffocating. "I don't know if I can keep working with you," I said. "I don't know if I can forgive you for what you've done." "I never wanted to hurt you," he said. "I know I made a huge mistake, but I don't think it's as simple as just walking away from everything we've built. We've worked too hard." The words stung. How could he still talk about the company after everything that had happened? "It doesn't matter anymore, James," I said, shaking my head. "I can't pretend that nothing has changed. My trust, my life, it's all been shattered." There was a long silence. Finally, James spoke, his voice desperate. "I just hope you find what you need, Adam." I walked out of the room, my heart heavy with confusion and anger. The man I had considered a brother had betrayed me in the worst possible way, and now I was left with a decision that would change everything. I needed a fresh start. I moved out of the apartment I had shared with Laura and reached out to a lawyer to discuss selling my stake in the company. The business had once been our legacy, but now it represented the betrayal that tore my world apart. Laura tried to contact me, but I ignored her calls. There was nothing left to say. The damage was done. James and I had one final conversation before I left town, and while he apologized again, I couldn't go back to the way things were. I sold my stake in the company. It was a difficult decision, but it was the only way to free myself from the past. As I walked away from everything I had known, I felt pain, anger, and loss, but I also felt something else, hope. My life was shattered, but for the first time in a long while, I felt like I could rebuild it on my own terms.